how will we know when we ascend into the fourth frequency? Let's be accurate if we can. How do we know we're in the third frequency? And that will be reflected because of the emanation. That will be reflected in the outer world. We're not all going to wake up. This is science fiction. We're not all entertaining science fiction. We're not all going to wake up and all of a sudden everything is different. That's not how it works. Everything is inside. So we know, and just like you said, I think there's 25 different examples of tangible examples of when we're actually doing this. You will feel completely different, and then your outer world will reflect that. And then when we do that en masse, and everyone is working with themselves properly, the outer world actually does start to change. The only reason why the world looks the way that it looks right now is because we expect it to look that way. The only reason why, if you're sick now, that you're sick in the next moment is because you expect to be. Period.
Wow. Our belief is that strong, right? Our belief in limitation is that strong, and we actually create it through belief.
Yeah, reality, Peter, as you know, is true. Period. End of story. Full stop. That's it. Now look at the matrix. Now look at what I'm talking about. What we talked about before. Throw something out there. It's real. It's real. Like what just happened a couple years ago, right? It's real. You ever hear some of those commercials? Black Magic 101. It's not even interesting. It's not even high level. It's just that it's real. Here it is. Believe it. Now, by believing in it, did you believe it's real and true? You then build it. You then create that reality, right? So because there are no locks and bolts down. The highest frequency is right here. It's not way up there. Understand that we create our reality based upon what we believe to be real and true. Just sit with that for a second.
Created by what we believe, the belief-based parasite, which is the EMI, the ego mind identity, the limitation program influenced by thinking. Once we eliminate that belief-based parasite, we are left with knowing, right? Which is the knowing of the self, right? We give up thinking and emoting, and we trade that for loving and knowing. Is that correct?
You're absolutely correct. And that self, the I am, is unlimited. It's God. And last I checked, God doesn't have any limitations. Neither do you. Except the ones that you believe. Are about that? Are you sure? So when we work properly, right, it destroys. It destroys the matrix. It destroys everything. You're liberated. You're free. You realize the truth and that you are free. And your only bondage is not realizing.
I know that Merlin's not here, but one of the best parts of the self-mastery course is that we actually get to talk to Merlin. We do a Merlin's roundtable, and we get to ask Merlin any question, and Merlin magically can answer any question that he goes to Merlin the Great. And he's been a huge resource to me, as has been Count Saint Germain. We'll get it to him another time. But what would Merlin say if he was here? What would we need to know right now as we take the limitation program, the spell, the black magic spell, off of our consciousness and our body of energy? What would Merlin the Great say if he was here?
If he was here, he would say that the difference between Merlin and everybody else is that he is a wild man. He's done whatever it takes to remove any kind of limitations. He's never accepted any limitations. He's never believed in the fact that some just need a process. So if Merlin were here, he would say, do the proper work on yourself and unleash your power to create as you deem fit. I never had, as crazy as it sounds, I never had one thought that I wouldn't put myself back together, heal myself of all these different things, and that I wouldn't do it quickly. I didn't have one thought. Why? Because the I am is not limited. There are no locks and bolts to anything. And now everyone can do, they have to quote unquote pay the price of what it takes to deprogram yourself. It doesn't happen through a lack of self-control and self-discipline. In fact, take the steps. Whether it's this book or someone else's, doesn't matter. But you actually have to put in the effort. And that's really the key. And once you put in the effort, everything is on the table for you because we literally are an unlimited being. So Merlin likes to see high-level magic, and he can't wait to see what humanity does with these new teachings.
Incredible. The first time I've heard the timeless teacher of humanity say the phrase energetic resonance of a true master eliminates these. It's like being power washed, like you say, when you have contact with the absolute being power. All of the dirt and grime gets blasted off of that diamond manifestation course, or the healing event of the lifetime is in the description. Ascendthefrequencies.com is the address. And one last question by one of our subscribers: is it true that there are no mistakes, no accidents, and what is synchronicity really?
Great question. Okay. Mistakes and what was the other part, Peter? Mistakes and
Mistakes, no accidents. Is everything planned? And what is synchronicity? How's that play into it, or is it the same thing?
yeah, right, or so-called knowledge. They're all illusions. And when those things don't come to fruition because we have expectations, we say it must have been an accident, or it must have been a freak thing, or this or that. No, it's not. The true majesty of existence itself is so far beyond what our finite mind can comprehend. Everything is working on these multiple levels, parallel realities, multiple frequencies. Everything is being worked out. Our five senses and intellect cannot access this, therefore not understand. There's no such thing as mistakes or accidents. It doesn't exist. In fact, God has said that when we talked about that God creates class. God creates through variance. Our God creates through variance, right? These various levels of sentience and energy is always in a one-to-one. All there is. So, like the nestling dolls. So for God decided that for it to create and do something else at the same. God's obsessed with efficiency. So God decided it needed to create what we now know as higher selves. It needed to create a mini me of itself. And you can think of the higher self as a mini me of God. It's not exactly accurate. You could think of it that way. It'll help the mind to work with it. So it decided that for it to understand itself through endless creation, it needed to create a mini me of itself. And it wanted to create a mini me of itself so God could then decided that the best way to do this would be to automate the process. So it could shift its attention to something else and then start creating simultaneously, right? So it's got creating higher selves over here, and then it can move its attention over here and start creating something else as well. So God decided the best thing to do is to automate these creations of these mini me's, these higher selves. So it set forth the metaphysics that would make that happen. Now, as it's setting that forth, because it realized, okay, I kind of got that nailed down. Let me go over here now. And before it even realized, by